Hello everyone, it is me again, as it normally is on this channel, tends to be me. We are doing a resin video. I feel like I haven't done one in quite some time and it is time to do another one. Today I'm going to be reacting to 5 Minute Crafts resin videos. I have seen a few of their stuff before. I haven't watched this video before that I'm about to play for you. But they have many video options, so if you guys like this video, do let me know down in the comments and I could do another one. Also, I will be putting what I'm watching on the screen, obviously, so you guys can watch along, but I will be adding some effects to it in an attempt to not get a copyright strike. But we'll see what happens. As I'm not monetized, it shouldn't make too much of a difference anyway, but I'd like to avoid one if I can. So let's get to watching 28 colourful crafts from epoxy resin, and I will tell you guys what I think about them. So let's watch the first one. Okay, that seems reasonable to me. Currently they're just doing resin craft, which is putting pre-bought dried flour. Okay, wait, we're already pausing this. What? Okay, they haven't filled this mold properly. Wait for it. There. That mold is not a full mold. That's not what a full mold looks like. You're gonna end up with like divots in the back of your thing. It is not gonna look good. Yeah, that's not how you fill a mold. The things themselves look kind of fun. Oh no, wait, no they don't. Oh no. No, they don't look good. This was a very hard thing to mess up. Clear resin with some flowers in it. They have messed it up. This is full of bubbles, it's uneven, it doesn't look like they've mixed the resin properly, it's like blotchy, or maybe they're using old resin because sometimes it goes a bit funny after a while. Oh, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, if I made that, I wouldn't be posting it on my shop. That was a very basic thing to make. That wasn't a complicated thing to make. It's not a 5 minute craft because you have to wait like 24 hours for it to cure at least, unless you're using special resin. But yeah, we're not off to a good start. That was a very easy craft, and they have messed it up. Okay, right. First thing I'm going to mention on this, no gloves. No gloves. Now, if you are aware of the risks of resin and you still choose not to take precautionary measures like wearing a mask and doing it in a well ventilated area, that kind of thing, absolutely fair enough. But I cannot imagine anyone doing this without gloves because your hands would get like ridiculous. Like how sticky would you, like my gloves that I wear get so ridiculously sticky and then it would like cure to your hands and your hands would be like sticky with the rest of your life. So I have no idea why you would choose to do any sort of resin without gloves on. We're only 36 seconds into this video, but following up from that as well, the mold that they're using is a food mold, which is absolutely fine. You can use food molds as long as you don't use them on food later, but the issue is that with food molds they're usually a lot thicker, so you end up with really thick pieces, or you end up with pieces with like a lip around the edge. Usually it's better to use silicone molds that are made for the use of resin for this reason, but there's nothing wrong with using food molds, it's just maybe not the best idea. But yeah, no gloves. Why is there no gloves? Okay, this is going to be a long video, sorry. Dropping the alcohol ink directly into the thing, absolutely fine. It can create some cool effects. You have got to be careful because this is a very small piece, and if you drop the alcohol ink directly into it, with it being such a small piece, you might throw off the chemical reaction with there being such a high amount of alcohol ink in there. Mixing the glitter straight into the piece, I've never seen anyone do it that way. You would mix the glitter into the resin first to make it a bit more even. But there isn't actually anything wrong with this. But again, looking at something that is wrong with this is that the mold isn't full again. So unless they're going to put more resin into this, they haven't filled the mold. Okay, that looks fine to me, but that's going to be full of, yeah, that's full of bubbles. That's fine if you're just using it for a magnet, like whatever, but it doesn't look good. A card just overheated, so I've put a new card in. I've also changed the angle a little bit so that hopefully my camera isn't in the sun anymore. But I'm just going to skip right back to the start of this craft. That looks fine to me. They haven't mixed it properly. It's not mixed all the way to the bottom. I mean, that's not the most efficient way of doing that, but it's fine. Yeah, looks okay to me. I don't really use UV resin. Okay, right, let's take a look at that. At that product again that they just pulled out. Can we see that? Oh no. Okay, I want to see that demold again. Okay, look at the shape of this. There is something wrong. Yeah, you can see that they've put the mold in like a upside down box to keep it upright. So the mold hasn't turned out like the right shape because it isn't the right shape in the box. Normally when you get pyramid molds like this, you get ones that go on a stand to avoid this. I don't know why this one isn't on a stand. But yeah, this is not good. Those colours are really ugly as well. And also I can already see some major bubbles around the side. The execution of this was fine. But the end product is not good. Oh no. I wouldn't want to put this on the internet. Look at the massive hole at the top and the bubbles around the side and the uneven base and all the colours drip. This is bad. I mean, I don't know, I don't particularly hate the colours dripping into each other and all the other colours in it, but like, look at the tip, that's not a pyramid. Again, the idea was fine. I've seen many other people do this. Execution is very clearly the person doing this has no idea how to use resin, because this is, I mean, that's not good. Oh, stop focusing on them. Okay. Okay. I see people do this all the time and it is... Oh, you can't just put food in resin like that. It's not a magic preserving tool. The food will still rot inside the resin and you will just get food rotting inside the resin, which is like, I can't even... like, I haven't seen anything like that before, but like, I can't even imagine how disgusting it would be to have like a rotting piece of crisp inside the resin. Maybe crisps are dry enough anyway so that they wouldn't rot, but like there's a reason we can't put like fresh flowers in resin, that you have to like dry them first. This is something else. I mean, I'm not going to comment on the earrings. I think they're a bit weird, but like I like a bit weird, so that's fine. But I just don't think this is going to work, man. Like, this just isn't going to work. Okay, that's fine. This is fine. There's not too many bubbles in the resin. This looks okay to me. That mold wasn't full. Okay, that's fine. That's just how to... That isn't a 5-minute craft, that's just how you use resin. Okay, this is kind of fine. I mean, do I like it? No, I think it's kind of ugly, but like, sure, I guess. What are they doing with this? Into a tube with some resin in it. That's just gonna leak everywhere. There's no way. No way! There's no way that wouldn't leak everywhere. It also didn't really work, like it's not a proper like cone shape. There's no way that wouldn't leak out. I'm not having that at all. Absolutely not. It's also full of bubbles and it didn't work. It doesn't look good. But there's no way that wouldn't leak out. Okay, they look kind of cool, but I refuse to believe that one. Why are you using... Why are they using a syringe? Look at all the bubbles it's adding. Okay, well I guess that's kind of fine. So many bubbles. Don't mix that fast. You will make more bubbles. That's not a full mold. But again, this is just resin. You've completely mispoured that. But sure. That one's not the worst. Okay, glitter in resin. That just said DIY. Well, I don't know. Do people do this? I don't think I've ever... Okay. I don't think I've ever seen people use a syringe before, but okay. That wasn't a full mold. Someone teach these people how to fill a mold. I don't like it, but sure. Okay, this could be kind of cool. I might give them this one. There's a bunch of bubbles in it. Right. This is something that I don't like about these videos, because if you didn't know anything about resin, you would think you could do that, and it looks like they maybe haven't waited for the colours to cure. But you could absolutely do that. You can absolutely fill like a certain bit of the mold with a certain amount of resin, but you have to wait for that resin to not necessarily fully cure, but it needs to be like at least partially cured for you to put the next layer in. Otherwise, it's just all gonna bleed together. And if we look at this picture, it looks like it kind of might be bleeding together, but you should be leaving it. If it's like my resin, which is like quite a long cure, I'd want to wait at least a day before doing the next layer. But if you're using something like a UV resin, you could cure it in between, or if you're using like a really short resin. But yeah, this wouldn't work without that extra step, or at least it's not going to work well without that extra step. Okay, that kind of turned out fine, but you do need that extra step. Don't mix that fast. They're massively overpoured. Why did they use... Okay, that is actually a pretty good technique that I use. Kind of an ugly product. I don't like the end product, but sure. What? Okay. Oh, now you're just doing like woodworking stuff. This is definitely not a 5-minute craft. Look at all the equipment you need. You need like a wood turner, and like you should definitely be wearing gloves to do this, but this is not my area of expertise. I don't know anything about wood turning. This is probably going to end up looking really cool, but this is not a 5-minute craft. What is happening now? What happened to like 5-minute crafts? This is wood turning. Like, yes, they're using resin. Is my tea cool enough to drink now? Because, I mean, I can't comment on this. Guess we'll just watch this guy do some wood turning. Okay, I'm going to cut now to the next actual resin thing that I can comment on, because I don't know enough about wood turning to comment on this. Now we're getting actual instructions on how to do resin, which is mixing part A and part B, depending on what type of resin you're using. So it's good to get some actual instructions. Still, no gloves. Why would you do that to yourself? Just wear gloves. This is fine, as long as you're using dried flowers. I feel like using the syringe would unnecessarily introduce bubbles. Also, you don't dry, you don't wait for resin to dry, you wait for it to cure, but sure, whatever. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Yeah. These aren't like hacks or anything though, these are just like, that's just how resin craft works. And we're back to the wood craft. Okay, we have a bezel with some resin. They haven't actually said what that is. I assume it's resin, glitter, and then resin on the top. It's been syringed very badly. That is not the same thing, okay? There has obviously been a take in between that, because the resin that they syringed onto the bezel was messy and all over the place, and this isn't. Most of the times when you're doing stuff with bezels like this, you buy like gems to stick on them, and that looks like a gem that they've stuck on it. But even if it's not, even if they did make it out of resin, that was not the same resin pour that was there a minute ago. So, that looks fine though. Okay, I'm kind of fine with that, with this like pencil eraser coaster. They haven't filled the mould again, and they were getting creative with like a yogurt pot lid for a mould, which, you know, that's fine. Be creative with your moulds. But you can see right at the back there's still a bit of the pencil shaving sticking out, like they haven't filled it properly. I feel like they might have just did that really quickly for the shot, and then the one that we're about to see will probably be a different one. I can't tell if that's a different one or not. It actually looks really ugly now they've taken it out. Also, please do not use normal resin as a coaster like this. Like, I cannot stress enough not to use normal resin like a coaster like this. Many resin artists will not sell coasters for this reason. You have to buy heat resistant resin in order to be able to put hot mugs on it like this. If you don't buy heat resistant resin, or it isn't mixed properly, even if you are using heat resistant resin, not only will the heat from the mug melt your resin, it will melt the coaster, the resin coaster, which will release toxic fumes to whoever is in the household. It will ruin your mug and it will ruin your surface. I will not sell coasters for this reason. I use heat resistant resin. I will not sell it because I've not tested it and I do not trust it without testing it. I use a coaster mold to make trinket trays, but I do not sell them as coasters. Please, please, please do not go out there and make a coaster like this. I've seen so many people making resin coasters and not really understanding what they're doing, and it's not just like, well, yes, you might ruin your expensive mug, and yes, you might ruin your expensive desk, but the main thing is that not knowing that you're genuinely putting yourself at risk of serious harm because you might be interacting with uncured resin, which could result in a serious chemical reaction, a serious allergic reaction. It could also result in causing serious harm to your lungs, or if anybody else in the house is vulnerable, it could seriously harm them because you're not using it properly. Now, most resin products are perfectly safe because we know what we're doing. The artists know what we're doing, and we make sure that we use that knowledge and do stuff safely and pass stuff over to you to make sure you can look after it. Like when you buy from me, you will get a note saying not to expose it to anything above 55 degrees Celsius, because that is what the resin manufacturer tell me to stick it to. And I will not sell coasters, and I will not use that resin to make coasters because I don't want to put anyone at risk. You're not getting any of that information when you watch something like this. Like the rest of it, it's just stupid stuff. But this could actually be dangerous. So yeah, I'm sorry for the rant, but I definitely wanted to like comment and pause on this because this isn't like, oh, this is a funny bad idea. This is like a potentially dangerous, and even if it's not dangerous, you could be ruining like hundreds of pounds worth of furniture. So like, do not do this. Okay, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's continue. Okay, I mean, the chances of you being able to get the resin it's kind of ugly. The chances of you being able to get the resin on that head without it popping, without it like dropping over, they didn't fill the mold again. Please do not use that to eat with. Please do not use, oh my god. Are we gonna have to have another health and safety talk? Please do not put resin in your mouth. As I said before, it is perfectly safe to use, it's perfectly safe to put on your skin or anything like that. But again, for safety reasons, do not put it in your mouth. Not because it is dangerous, but because sometimes, because of the way that we make resin, it might be in an environment with the fumes of uncured resin, which can stick to surfaces. The way that the fumes work is that they can stick to surfaces, which is absolutely fine if you have very, very small trace amounts on like a piece of jewellery or something like that. And I tend to clean things before I send them out anyway, so most of the time, 95% of the time, you'll be absolutely fine unless you've had a serious epoxy reaction in the past, and you won't get one spontaneously. It's a whole thing. I'm not going into that in this video. But putting it in your mouth is still not a good idea. It is not a good idea to put this in your mouth. It has not been approved to put in your mouth. It is not safe to put in your mouth. Please do not make food items, like things that are going to put in your mouth, like a spoon, out of resin. On a similar vein, I see many people making like turners for illicit substances to like grind them up and things. And do not do that either, because what will end up happening is bits of the resin might break off and then you will end up smoking resin. If I need to explain to you why it's a bad idea to smoke plastic, I think you might be in the wrong channel. So yeah, another safety warning, do not do this. Wear it in your ears, wear it as a keyring. Whatever you want to do, you'll be absolutely fine. Maybe don't risk putting it in your mouth. I mean, that doesn't seem like I'm not overreacting here. Maybe don't put it in your mouth. Okay, we're nearly finished with this video. I'm getting annoyed, can you tell? Okay, we have some clay. They're just making a really ugly thing out of some clay. Well, that's just that uneven and ugly. What is that supposed to be? That is really ugly. Okay, we've reached the end of our video. We finished it with a very ugly keyring. That was a lot. Many mistakes were made. Some things were fine. Some things were more wood turning crafts than resin crafts. So that video was a roller coaster. If you have enjoyed me going through this, then let me know down in the comments, because there's many other of these videos that I can react to as well. If you're interested in resin craft, absolutely get involved, but maybe actually look up what you're doing and don't follow videos like this, because these people clearly do not know what they're doing, which is a bit disappointing really, because it's not difficult to find the information. Like, it wasn't, like, it's difficult to learn how to do the stuff because there's a lot of trial and error, but it's not difficult to find the information on how to do it. If I can do it, I'm sure 5 Minute Crafts can do it, but they obviously just don't care. So if you have any requests or questions, leave them down in the comments. New videos every Wednesday. Like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you next week. Bye.